This video is made for the Advertising and Marketing program of Indiana University South Bend.
Brought to you by the Advertising Club and Marketing Club.
Okay.
Hi guys, my name is Caitlin Schoenfeld.
Hey guys, Ken Conley here.
Hello everyone, my name is Danuta Kawecki. I'm Karen Lopez.
And I am a 2014
Class of 2014
alum from Indiana University of South Bend.
We both went to IUSB and we had a lot of marketing classes together.
I received my degree in business from the Judd Layton School of Business with a concentration in
marketing and advertising.
We are both in the Commercial Banker Development Program here at First Source Bank.
Currently work for Keystone RV Company. I am in sales.
So we're going to talk about some of the questions that we were given to respond to.
And I'm here today because I wanted to
talk to you guys a little bit about
my time at Indiana University of South Bend
and how it led me to
my career path,
things I liked about it,
as well as some of the successes that I've had in my career thus far.
Overall, just kind of give you any insight that I can give you to help you in your career path. So I got the questions over here to my right. I'm going to be looking this way to read those.
What does the marketing or advertising major mean to you?
Why are you passionate about it? Why did you
choose it over others?
I chose marketing specifically as my major at Indiana University of South Bend because I liked the flexibility that it provided. When you look at what all the different positions that my former classmates are in now, we have people that are in sales, we have people that are in business relations, I have friends that are in true marketing positions, marketing research. There's so many different positions and so much flexibility that a business marketing degree offers you, and that was what really drew me to the program.
So for me personally, I like the psychology of things a little bit more. So with marketing and advertising, you obviously do have some form of psychological analysis that you're doing into various demographics and that kind of thing. So that kind of pulled me to it a little bit more than the other business majors. And I was also very interested in research, and I still am. And you get a little bit more of that in marketing and advertising rather than finance or entrepreneurship maybe. So that was primarily what drew me to marketing and advertising personally.
Marketing and advertising to me means the ability to be creative, to get outside of the box. I chose marketing and advertising over, say, accounting or something that's more focused because I feel like it let me go in different directions. It let me do those other things that I wanted to do versus just going straight to that accounting or teaching or whatever it is, education. That gave me a bigger scope of opportunity, and I've definitely used it in different parts. You're in front of people a lot. You're talking a lot more than other majors. When I was in some of the general studies classes, it was definitely a little bit more, you're with your friends and people from other local schools, especially being a small campus in South Bend. People know each other, so you're not really forced to get to know each other in other majors, in my opinion, where in marketing, I really think I was forced to get to know some people, and I still have some friends from the marketing department that I didn't have going in, so that was really great.
So marketing is very much like a puzzle in a way, and I feel like when you have all the different pieces together, you're able to see the holistic view of what exactly drives the sales of a company, because they really understand that target market, and you're able to put it all together to empower that brand. And I always thought it was interesting just knowing that factor and that side of it, and anywhere you go with a marketing or advertising degree, you are able to fit in nicely with any company.
The marketing major was extremely important to me because I understood that in order to have influence, not only in the greater community, but even just in the company that I was going to work at, being able to communicate the vision, mission, product, benefits, the solution that you're solving, I knew that was going to be key. Without that understanding, without knowing the proper techniques to handle that sort of responsibility and influence, I wasn't going to be successful. I also just had a natural bent towards presenting to other people and conveying ideas, whether it was via graphic design or video. It was just something I was really passionate about. And I'm passionate about sharing that with other people as well. I want others to know that you are able to use these tools, use these mechanisms, use what you learn to greater influence others, to spread a message, to start a movement, whatever it is. And I think that there is no greater time than now to empower young people and young adults in doing those types of things. I chose marketing over other majors because I felt that being able to hone my skills into something very specific rather than maybe a more general business degree was going to better prepare me to find a niche in the marketplace and be more competitive in the environment.
Let's see.
So now we're going to do question 2. So,
What did you like most about your education?
how did it set you up for your career?
How challenging or interesting was the coursework?
So what I liked most about my education was it was flexible. I didn't have the ability to go away to school and essentially dedicate all my time to taking 16, 18, 20 credit hours. So being here local in South Bend, it allowed me to continue to work, continue to move my life along that path. I didn't have the traditional path through college where, you go to high school, you go directly into college, you live in the dorms. That wasn't my path for sure. I had to support myself financially a little bit more, some students. So I really liked that part about it. It set me up for my career because I got to know people. Actually, the person that got me my current job was a person I met taking a psych class at IUSB. So in other things, it gave me the confidence to take my first job out of college, which was a project managing job. And I didn't think I had all the tools that it would take to be in an everyday office setting, but you get that feeling, you get that practice working on some of these projects. The project competitions were a lot. You're doing some of the things that companies are paying people a lot of money to do. You're putting together marketing campaigns, you're putting together suggestions on how to attack something. One of the projects we worked on was Domino's, and it's really fun because you see some of the suggestions that we made actually coming to what Domino's is doing now, whether it being a little bit more mobile, having a little bit more variation on how to deliver pizzas. The projects were really a lot of fun, and we were up in the marketing lab till 1, 2 a.m. some nights. It was just a good experience overall. And I think that's what marketing really is.
One of the things that the marketing and advertising program did that I thought was really unique is that they would put on events where we could network with former alumni as well as industry leaders and people that are very successful within their current industry, including authors, marketing talent in the area, both local and people that we would bring in from outside. And I thought that was really a unique experience. The fact that we were able to network with these people and really have a conversation about what they were doing with their marketing degrees, I thought was really helpful and kind of opened our eyes to the different options and opportunities that were out there for us as students.
For me, it was very important to stay local and to be able to support my family as we were in the moment having a startup business, and I wanted to learn how to operate all the ins and outs. So I think it was very important that I got the opportunity to network, and I heard great things from some of his current students, and it just got me a little bit intrigued on the day-to-day tasks and focusing on the bigger image of how I can really develop that competitive advantage. I really do see marketing and advertising having influenced me where I am today, and so I'm thankful for all the IUSB professors, especially those that work really late nights to work with you on those class projects like M401 and M405. Those were very challenging courses that help you close that chapter of being a marketing and advertising major where you feel more comfortable and ready to go out into the real world and say, okay, we're gonna start this problem from scratch and just put all the pieces together and really see the big picture in order to make your strategic plan for that company that is best suited for them.
There were several things about my education at IU South Bend that I found extremely intriguing. One of the things was just the proximity and being able to work and live and go to school in the same community that I was planning on staying. The coursework at IU South Bend was challenging. I especially appreciated how we always learned the basic foundations, but then we were challenged and encouraged to then apply it. There were lots of case studies. There were lots of group projects that caused us and required us to take all those frameworks that we were learning and apply them to something that is just very tangible and something that's also related to what we're going to be doing in the real world. While in the moment, all those group projects seemed like such a strain and at times a waste of time, what it taught me was time management, team management, leadership, playing the role that you're meant to play, using your strengths inside of a group. Those are all characteristics, personality traits, and skills and strengths that we had to build so that we could be successful in the marketplace.
The biggest thing for me was connecting with mentors and professors that helped me kind of see the light and realize that, hey, maybe I do need way more work experience and kind of get a taste of what it's like to use my degree, whether it's, we're not necessarily in a marketing oriented company. The main thing that a bank does fundamentally is financial analysis and providing services to clients and that kind of thing in the finance industry. So like how my education set me up for my career as far as like marketing goes is it gave me robust kind of perspective of how companies work, and college has allowed me to explore a lot of different options and avenues and majors because I've switched my major a few times within business. So being at IUSB kind of gave me more real world experience, and I got real world advice where I wouldn't have necessarily gotten that at like bigger bubble universities that a lot of people tend to go to. All right, so then with our third question.
If you engage in extracurricular activities on campus,
what were they? How did they help you in your studies and career? So for me, with extracurriculars and that kind of thing, I didn't really engage myself in a lot of clubs, and that's something I'm kicking myself on now. But I did tutor at IUSB for the last 2 years that I was there, and I got a lot out of it. I was able to reinforce the things I was learning in my marketing classes and other classes I've taken. Like I was a supplemental instructor for speech, and for me, like throughout my life, pretty much I've dealt with a lot of anxiety, and so taking a speech class with a professor that I did helped me kind of calm my nerves down if I'm talking to like a group of people, whether it's small or big. So for me, as far as like, again, going back to extracurriculars, I'm kicking myself now because I wish I took more extracurricular things like going to marketing and advertising club and doing that kind of thing. But I was very academic, so I was constantly studying like day in, day out, constantly like nose in the books. So again, like I was saying earlier too, like I was more research oriented. I kind of wanted to go into that, so I was very academic, but I got a lot out of being a tutor at IUSB, and I wish that I had done more.
I would suggest that you guys get a ton more involved. I didn't do as much as I wish I would have if I could have gone back. I did do some intramurals, which is fun, keeps you active. But like I said, my path through college was a little bit different, so I had work after class and in between class. I had home life, I had stuff going on, so I wasn't able to get involved as much as I can. But I do think that if it's something you have the ability to do, you definitely want to get involved. Get to know as many people as you can. There's been 10, 15 people that have reached out to me just from various classes that I took one class with them. Some people I had multiple classes with, but they've given me opportunities to, hey, I remember you from this group project or this class. Are you interested in this opportunity? So get to know people, do that other stuff, and it also helps bring in more people to the marketing department. I don't think that even on campus there's enough love given to the marketing department. I really think that we have a lot to offer some of these students that are going down a general studies path it's really not going to get them where they need to be in their career. So, touch as many people as you can.
I want to say that a lot of my success is due to the time that I spent at Indiana University of South Bend. Indiana University of South Bend really set me up with the tools and taught me how to work in a team environment. We were part of several competitions within the marketing program, and during that time, it really taught me a lot about how to be competitive in a strategic way, that you are not bringing others down, but everybody is lifting everyone else up to the next level. I thought that was really unique, and I'm really grateful for the experience that I had at IU South Bend School of Business in the marketing program specifically, because of the successes that they have helped me to achieve in my career post-college.
When I was going to IUSB, I worked. At first I was working part-time, and then I increased it to full-time, and I really wanted to keep that work-life balance. And obviously going to school, it's not always easy to, sign up to extracurricular activities. And so like the first year I didn't really engage in any activities or clubs, but I think I started to see like the importance of being involved in a club and just putting in that extra effort to network with the individuals there, because ultimately being able to make these connections will help you. So you're all going going to different areas. Like, not everybody stayed here in Indiana. Obviously, people go all over the world, and you never know where you're going to end up in life after graduation. So for me, I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to be a part of the Marketing and Advertising Club, because it really allowed me to network with different alums and just get a feel for their careers. And not only do you get a feel for their careers and their companies, but you also get to understand what life choices they made that they wish, like, if I could go back and change something, then I would have done this differently, or I would have waited to jump from job to job, or like, everybody gives you different takes depending on the industry that they're working for. But I think that was very beneficial as a learning experience, and I made a lot of great lifelong friends that I still keep in touch with.
Any memorable, funny, challenging, exciting incidents
During your stay at IUSB?
I don't think I have a ton of campus memories. There's definitely a better opportunity for you to create those memories. And from reading alumni updates and some of the things I see online, it sounds like the campus is 1,000 times involved. There's a baseball team. The apartments were fairly new when I was there. So I'm assuming campus is more of an exciting atmosphere, more for you guys to do. So there's definitely a better opportunity for you to get more of that college experience. It's not just your local community college at this point. It's really gone past that. And I saw some of that process, but it's continued to grow after I've left. So create those memories and have fun while you can. Most of the funny stuff and the exciting memories I have was just being in that small marketing lab at 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, being on campus when there was nobody else around working on stuff, being up with the small group of people that I got close with in that marketing lab, 5x5 room, and we had 10 people in there, and it gets hot and uncomfortable, but those were definitely some of the fun memories.
In my time at Indiana University of South Bend, I participated in the Marketing and Advertising Club. I really enjoyed my time in the Marketing and Advertising Club because I was able to draw a deeper connection with a lot of my classmates and as well as the professors. In that experience, I felt that it really created a sense of community within that program. At one of these Marketing and Advertising Club meetings, I was able to network with a former alum who worked for Abbott Laboratories. And when he came in, I had already had a passion for medical sales. When this alum came in and spoke about what he was doing with his career in medical sales post-college, I was really drawn to that and to this company specifically. Post-presentation, I approached this student and actually passed along my resume to this student. And this ultimately landed my first job out of college, which was at Abbott Laboratories, a Fortune 500 company.
I met a lot of interesting people from varying majors, but I think for me, the biggest thing that I wasn't necessarily expecting or that threw me off was how engaging the professors are with their students one-on-one. Like, I would go into different professors' offices and like ask for questions that I had on projects or papers or whatever that I was doing. And every single professor that I met with was always super willing to like sit down with you, like talk about like even outside of like school, like how you're doing, like what are your plans. And I feel like you don't necessarily get that one-on-one time in other like college atmospheres that have like bigger class sizes and stuff. So for me, like the most surprising thing that took me by surprise, I guess, was just being able to connect with a lot of professors that sincerely cared about my development, what I wanted to do, how my life was going, how classes are going, and how I can grow.
For me, like, I guess my time at IUSB, I have many different memorable experiences. I remember one time we used the mattress from one of the beds at the dorms, and we were mattress sledding down the stairs on my birthday, and it was like right after finals, so we got in trouble for that, but I mean, it was totally worth it. And aside from that, like just being in group projects and you really bond with the people that you're working with long hours. There was a time that we even spent the night there at IUSB, and we would take turns napping on what are those, outside the benches, yeah, basically we just put them all together and we were just sleeping outside of the teachers' offices and nobody was there, and we were just like, okay, so everybody gets 2 hours to sleep, and then we're waking up and cycling out, and we're gonna get these projects finished, we gotta meet the deadline. So I mean, that was like something memorable, and now that I look back on it, I'm like, wow, like I really need whenever I think I can't do something here at work, or when we went through the whole paycheck protection program and we were just flooded with applications, and we were also working somewhat crazy hours. I looked back on my time at IUSB and I'm like, you know what? If I could do that for a project, I can do anything. So I think that really helps empower me and gives me that self-motivation sometimes that you may lack when you don't want to do things, but you know you have to get them done.
What resources were most fruitful to you?
To make you feel home on campus.
Think labs, career services, etc. I would say that a lot of the resources that IUSB offers made me feel like home because it is a commuter campus. So I feel like they inherently have a challenge in trying to make students feel at home because they are, for the most part, matriculating back and forth, campus and home or apartments or whatever. So I like the fact that they had like welcome week, and I think it's really helpful, especially to freshmen, because they get to see IUSB get a very positive light. It's their first week in. There are things to do. You can go talk to various booths about clubs that they're offering. They have events and different things going on. They have like a bubble ball match or whatever. So they do make it very fun and inviting for everybody. I like that they have the Starbucks location that they have there. Going into the grill, you can talk with your friends. You can meet up with people after classes and study together. Even in the library too, like the library ended up becoming my second home on campus because I tutored there. So I was there all the time. I had really strong relationships with my coworkers. I had so much fun hanging out with my coworkers and stuff too. You don't necessarily get that in every working environment you're in, but it all felt very homey and familiar to me.
Transferring to Indiana University of South Bend was one of the best decisions I personally could have made for my college career. One thing that I found at some of the larger schools was that you became just a number in the group. Class sizes were extremely large. You never got to know your professors. You hardly got to know many of the other students in your classroom. It was a check the box type of attitude where you showed up to class, you tried to do your work, but it was very easy to get lost in the crowd. The first thing I noticed was not only how much smaller the class sizes were, which led to a much more individualized education, but also the fact that the professors took so much more attention to their students. I felt like the professors at Indiana University of South Bend really valued me as a student and valued and set me up for success for my career post-college.
I think the ability to come and go was really nice, and it made it not feel so regulated. I knew if I had a paper or I had a test to study for, there was a computer lab I could get to that generally had longer hours, and then the marketing lab gave us a really great opportunity to come and go as we needed. So that was the best thing for me. I didn't do a lot of eating on campus. I didn't do a lot of in-between hanging out at the library. So for me, there wasn't a ton of that experience. You'll probably get that more from some of the people that were a little bit more involved in campus life. While I was there, my goal was to get a degree, and I think going into it, I'm really glad I ended up in marketing and advertising because I think it did give me more of a college experience, and I was definitely appreciative of the teachers being involved.
I remember the EA building having that 24-hour access was very beneficial, especially during finals and when you're cramming and sometimes you're pulling an all-nighter and you're just going to basically sit your butt there all day and all night. That was really helpful because I commuted back and forth from Elkhart to IUSB, so there were times where we had these big projects and not everybody could meet at the same time. I remember I would just camp myself there in the EA building and I was like, okay, we're going to get this done. And that was a good resource to have, just that 24-hour access. But even also the library, I remember using the tutoring center to have them proofread some of my essays. And when I was doing the calculus course, I went in there to get help and just make sure that I understood what I was doing before submitting my assignments. So I really found that beneficial. But even all the professors at IUSB were always there and went the extra mile, and they work with you after class or even depending on your schedule, and they would make that time to meet you even sometimes outside of campus if that was too far for me to go. I had a professor, I was like, okay, I'll meet you at the coffee shop and you can hand me your assignment there and I'll review it over the weekend or something. So that was really nice to have.
Okay, so
any other piece of advice
you would like to give to
budding marketers and advertisers
at IUSB? I think I keep coming back to the same thing, but it is important. Stay involved, get to know each other. Don't, if you have the opportunity not to, go to your class and leave campus immediately, go around campus, get to know those people that you see, be an advocate for your major. I've been more of an advocate since leaving, and I feel the responsibility where I was able to get what I learned in school. I feel the great need to give back now that I'm out, but I didn't feel it as much when I was there, and I wish I did. That would be the definite thing for me, is just stay as involved. When people are giving you the top opportunity to see speakers and alumni are on campus after hours or whatever it is, definitely get to as many of those things as you can. That would be my advice.
If I had to give any advice to the students, in the marketing and advertising departments at IU South Bend, it would be to engage. Continue to reach out to your professors, do those extracurricular activities, find ways to take the skills that you're learning and apply them on campus, outside at internships, at the job you have, no matter how small of a role you have or entry-level position or internship, whatever it is. If you are actively engaging what you're learning, actively engaging the environment you have, and crisscrossing the two, you're going to see a huge amount of success, and your career is going to not just slowly increase, but you're really going to see a bump early on, and it's all going to be worth it.
My number one piece of advice would be to connect with your professors and really try to utilize them, because they're obviously there for a reason. They're there to teach you. They're there to also impart wisdom and give you advice. They have your best interest in mind, and it's just a golden opportunity that you're able to get with your professors that you connect really well with. Because for me personally, I was really struggling with trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go and pursue my master's or my PhD or go into the workforce or do any number of things, and I was really struggling to figure out what path I wanted to go on. And being able to connect with professors really helped me kind of figure out what direction I want to go in and being smart about it. And that's something that has been super crucial to me, super invaluable to me, and that's not something that I say lightly. It's definitely being able to connect with my professors has transformed the trajectory of my life's path.
For me, I would say don't worry too much about the GPA necessarily, but worry about understanding the concept. And I knew a couple marketers that were oh no, I already screwed up on this, I'm just not going to do it anymore. And so they just kind of decided they didn't necessarily want to follow through with that path. But for me, it's don't worry too much if you don't understand or if a class is challenging. Go to your professors and network with them, because ultimately they are the ones that are going to help you get through that hurdle. And life is going to give you hurdles anywhere you go, and college just kind of gives you mini hurdles as you go along. You don't have enough money to pay the tuition or something. It's don't give up, because honestly that's just life telling you, okay, this is just one of the hurdles that I'm throwing your way, but it's up to you to actually do something about it and pick yourself up and move forward.
I was definitely appreciative of the teachers being involved and pushing you to just do more than try to get good grades, which, by the way, hey, I didn't get great grades. I think that, it's not the end-all be-all. Not saying you shouldn't have great grades and you shouldn't study, and if you have the time to do all that stuff, but there's not a direct straight line for all of us, and I was not one of the more high GPAs that was in my class, but it worked for me, and I've had success in my career since leaving there. And not too many times when I'm on a job interview or when I'm talking to my boss about a new opportunity do they ask me about my GPA. Actually, 0 times. I've never been asked my GPA since I left college.
I would also like to add too, we are or were whatever marketing and advertising double majors, and I feel a lot of times students have this very narrow view of what jobs to apply to. So we're in finance right now. It's clearly not marketing and advertising, but just don't keep your options limited. Keep a very broad perspective, very broad view on jobs, on internships, on experiences, the whole thing, because I feel now being in the workforce for a little bit, they can appreciate having a robust perspective or experiences that you may have had through college or otherwise. So keeping a very broad worldview and experience and skill set is going to be most beneficial, because you're going to be applicable in any industry, any job that you get.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's any job that you do go into for that, take that, whatever it is that you learn from that job, and don't say oh, because I'm working in this industry, I won't be able to transition into this industry. Take the skills that you learn at this job and, apply it here, and then just kind of continue that compound learning, as our boss would call it, use that compound learning.
Continuous compound learning.
Yes, continuous learning, and build on it. And I think for me, the number one reason that Danuta and I are both here also has a lot to do with mentorship. Yeah. And I think that IUSB did a really fantastic job, I think, being that mentor that you really need.
That guiding light.
Yes, that guiding light. And for me, that was one of the deciding factors of why I decided, even though I'm not a finance major and I never really saw myself working in a bank, I think the importance of having somebody that is willing to provide you that leadership and just mentor you along the way while you're early on in your career is something that is crucial to your development, especially in an industry here like in finance where not necessarily like being a woman or being young, you're oftentimes not taken seriously. But I think having a good mentor, like,
tough love.
Yes, tough love. But like I think that's something that would be like my biggest piece of advice. Find yourself a good mentor, and if you can apply early.
Yes.
Don't wait last minute to get
I waited
around.
last minute.
Don't wait.
Okay, so with the last question that we have,
I'll talk about my
Career progression.
and I'll tell you a story about that.
for me, like when I was in college and I did my internship, like I'm very curious and interested in gender in the workplace, or just being a female in the workplace and how that kind of pans out. And Karen touched a little bit about it before, where like if you're young in a very well-known aged industry, you already have like a mark against you. If you're female, you have a mark against you. If you're like a first-gen citizen, you have family that's outside the US, that kind of thing, another mark against you. So to have like a boss that is able to constantly uplift us, have us grow our confidence, and instill in us that we have the skill sets, the mentality, the attitude, the grit, the drive to be able to keep up with others and even exceed expectations and live up to the ranks of others has helped us tremendously, because like finance is neither of our wheelhouse whatsoever. So being thrown into something so brand new, it definitely was intimidating for both of us at first, but I think being able to work together and go through the motions and learn new things and experience new things, it's all so insanely like intimidating and scary. But you need those experiences and scary things in order to grow as an individual and grow in whatever industry or job that you're in. So, I mean, like in the beginning, like I said, like super intimidated, but we have been traveling to West Coast, East Coast, being paired up with individuals that are doing like joint calls and very like high level, low level, all over the board kind of experiences, and that's something that I wouldn't necessarily get at other workplaces. So I'm very fortunate to be working where I am. I'm very fortunate to have a job during the whole pandemic, and I'm very fortunate to be in a workplace that values individual merit as much as our workplace does.
My career path was a little bit different than most. So I graduated school and I thought I had all the answers. I had the degree that you needed. I thought I was going to fill out that application. I was really confident in my interview process, so I needed to get out there. And I was lucky enough that through school I worked at a bar. So I was a bartender and I talked to various people. I got to know some people really well within local businesses. And so I had a couple opportunities right out of school, get in, I did really well on the interviews. I prepped, and then I actually wasn't able to get the first dream job that I thought that was offered to me because of some inconsistencies in my personal life. So that stuff does matter, guys. When you're out drinking and having a good time, which I want you to have a good time, be safe, Uber, do whatever you have to do, because you don't realize how long that stuff lasts for you. So I did get a DUI and I couldn't get that first job because of that experience. It was something to do with insurance, and it wasn't like they judged me for it, but it was an insurance protocol because I was high risk. There was going to be a company vehicle. They couldn't hire me. So that first job I was offered was $65,000 out of school. I was super pumped, and 2 months into it, I had to pay legal fees. I did all this thing to get it expunged from my record. I tried to chase this down, and in that process, that company was bought out, and I lost my contact. He sold the company, and he kind of moved on, and he just didn't really follow up, and maybe I gave up a little bit too easy, but I did try to pursue that pretty hard. And then it got rough. I looked for a job for a while, and then luckily through contacts at IUSB, I found myself a job at North American Signs, which was a great opportunity. I wasn't overly excited. I still kind of, losing that first opportunity was hard on me for sure. But I knew I needed to get out there, and the big thing that I've seen in my career path is everybody wants experience, no one wants to give you experience, and I think you'll all experience that for sure, 100%. Everybody, wherever you can find the experience, unpaid, paid internships, whatever it is, in a professional setting, make sure you grab that opportunity, because people do care about that. They do want to know about your work setting experience. So I got that at North American Signs, and I was there 2 years. I got to know some great people. I really used my my organization. I use as much as my skill set as far as marketing and advertising came, but it was a pretty small company, about 12 million revenue annually. I don't know where they're at now. And there are some IUSB people there too, so don't shake your nose at that opportunity if it does come along for some of you guys, because North American Signs has welcomed at least 3 or 4 IUSB graduates that I know of personally, including myself, and it was a great job. I really got to do a little bit of everything. There was a little bit of marketing and advertising, there was a little bit of sales. The project management part helped me sharpen my skills as far as being organized and completing tasks. When you get to a job, you find that it's a lot like school in the sense that everybody doesn't need the same amount of time to get things done, right? So something that takes me an hour might take somebody 4 hours or somebody else a half hour, whatever it is. But when you get in and be confident in yourself. That was one thing that I did not lack, which was great. So I knew I was doing a good job, and I was able to grow within North American Signs until my next opportunity, my current job at Keystone RV Company. So a person that I met at IUSB in a class, he came to me and asked me if I wanted an opportunity to do wholesale in the RV industry. Growing up in this part of the area, I'm shocked I didn't know anything about it really, so I did let him talk me into it, and I took that leap of faith, and I took a trainee position at Keystone RV, and 20 days ago, it's been 4 years, and it's been a great decision for me. Personally, it's been great for my career. I essentially am within a $4 billion annually revenue company, and I run my own business within that company. We're really responsible for our own territories. I control the Northeast for a sub-brand of the Keystone product lineup, and basically I am tasked with running my inventories, prospecting dealers, doing all that thing. It's a true outside sales role within a great company that I'm really proud to have, and there's a ton of opportunities in this industry. Things are really good now, and there are ups and downs like any other industry. If any of you guys ever have any interest in the industry, I would love for you to reach out to me personally, and I would definitely help you any way that I could. I can't guarantee that I can get you a job, so I don't want it to come across that way, but I'm always looking to put my stamp on the next person. My friend took an opportunity on me, and I've helped him look like a really smart guy, and he's grown with the company quite a bit as well. So that's been my career path somewhat. Now, where I'll go from here, I think that my goal is to grow within Keystone. I'm in sales. My direct boss is what we call a product manager. He's more in charge as a sales manager. He's in charge of the product offering, the day-to-day kind of thing. So that's my next stepping stone. I really like to take that step within the company. And, it's a little bit less travel. My job does entitle about 150 days a year on the road. So that's something to keep in mind too. Sales is great money. And a lot of people, even people within my own company that aren't in sales, may think, oh man, it's well paid. It's not a hard job. It's a lot. It is. I'm still not married. I have no children, so I manage a little bit better than some of the guys I see in the company. Some of these guys got 4 kids at home. They're missing opportunities. The reason sales is well paying and is a great opportunity is because you make a lot of sacrifices. If 8 to 5 or more of an 8 to 5 regimen is something that you want, that's something to take into account, because even some of the inside sales, outside sales, these jobs, I've gotten 3 or 4 emails since I've been on this video with things that people needed, and it's Saturday at about 1 p.m. and my job never stops, and I'm okay with that because I like to keep busy. I like that ability to always have something going on. I don't really want to clock in at 8 a.m., leave at 5 p.m., and that's my day. And to be honest, I think those jobs in most cases can be okay paying, but if you really are motivated by money like myself, then sales role or something that's not a 8 to 5 job is definitely where you're going to find yourself. And in this area, I could pursue marketing and advertising, but the major setback for that is, do I want to move to Chicago? I kicked around moving to Cincinnati, except I received a job offer from Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati and weighed on some of those decisions, but I like it in this area and I found something that works for me. You'll definitely find something that works for you in your career path. But step 1 is getting that degree and getting something out of that degree, soaking up everything that's around you, taking the advice of the people that, you guys are lucky because I had people that were in their 40s, 2 kids at home, grandchildren, different things that they had life experiences. So when I'm in the project with Karen, who's 45 years old and has a grandchild, she has more life experience than Becky, who's fresh out of high school. And so you have that wide range of people's opinions, people's experiences, and you don't get that at, Bloomington or some of these bigger campuses. There's not too much that working mom or working dad or whoever that is. So I think it's an opportunity, a value added to a small campus. So you definitely keep that in mind and never turn your shoulder at somebody. So
while I was still in school, I ended up getting an internship. It was unpaid at a local company in downtown South Bend. I got to use a lot of my graphic design skills. I got to use a lot of my marketing skills. I was a marketing coordinator. It was very much an entry-level job, but it also gave me a lot of insight into how the business is run, the different departments and how they interact, and the nuances and idiosyncrasies that come with that in every company. But then I got surprised at the end of that when they paid me a small sum for the time that I had put in. It was something I really appreciated, and it also was accompanied with the job offer. And that was the job I had for the first 2.5 years. I got to learn more about sales, learn more about even little things that aren't necessarily marketing related. I got to learn about real estate, commercial real estate, how that's handled, what goes on in the back end. And all of those things that I learned along the way really have ultimately set me up for success where I am now. The other thing I did that I think is really important is I took a year off between the end of my undergraduate studies before I went into the MBA program. That allowed me more time to focus on my work and do more of that observational study so that I could learn how to better apply not what I learned, but also better apply what I learned in the workplace to my MBA studies. And that was critically valuable to me. After that job, I got another similar position at a local credit union and learned even more about how finances work. I learned about personal finances, commercial finances, lending, and all the nuances of that. From there, I went to a more consumer-minded business here in the RV industry. In Northern Indiana, we're a top RV producer in the nation. So I got to see how that worked. I was the digital marketing manager of a national brand, 3 national brands in fact, where I got to learn how do I take, again, what I learned at IU South Bend and use that through a digital medium to influence future buyers for recreational vehicles. How do I give them the information they need when they're making buying decisions? What is the customer journey that they're going to take through my website, through our apps, through our ads, through our videos, through our 3D tours that I would go out and shoot of the units so that they had everything they needed to make a good choice that they could then purchase the unit and then walk away with a really, really good feeling and never feel buyer's remorse. Once I got through that, I then was invited to join another company that is focusing in the IoT space, and I've been there for about 5 years now. IoT, or the Internet of Things, is very much technology related, internet related. How do we take something that's old and antiquated, that is the commercial building, and turn it into something that's new and exciting and engages a whole new set of audiences with data that they didn't have before. But I couldn't have done any of that without the training that I had at IU South Bend and the experience that I gathered along the way in all these different industries. So that's kind of been my progression. When it comes to opportunities, because I got my MBA, that was a big check mark for people that got me into interviews. MBA preferred isn't just a little slogan that people put on job descriptions. If you have an MBA, and there are very few people that apply for these kinds of positions with that in our area, you're going to be towards the top of the list when it comes to interviews. And then once you get in the interview, it's all up to personality and showing that you're humble, hungry, and smart, and that you want to learn, you want to do more, you want to contribute, and that you don't want to do that in a vacuum. You want to do it as a team, which IU South Bend taught us. But you also want to do it with best practices, which IU South Bend taught us. So that's kind of how my progression throughout my career has gone so far. It's been 10 years since I graduated from my undergrad and 7 since I got my MBA. And looking back, I would not make any different decision. And so when I look at the job I'm at now, I'm the director of an entire division. I am over product line. I'm working on things like sales and marketing and product development and customer support. And all of these things now are under my responsibility, under my guidance, and under my influence. But all of it comes back to, what was I taught at IU South Bend? I was taught to think linearly, to think relationally, to think in ways where probability isn't just statistic, but it has real meaning behind it. And now taking all of those different variables, those different parameters, and applying it to all these different aspects of a product line or of a company, it's extremely valuable. So to go from an entry-level position of marketing coordinator where I am sending out pins and letterhead to different offices to where I am now being able to exude real influence. So to go from entry level where I am sending out pins and letterheads to different regional offices to where I'm able to apply real influence into how well and how successful a particular product or business is a real pleasure, and I could not have done it without IU South Bend.
Being a woman in the finance industry and being fresh out of college, for me, like, I started the CBD program and they didn't really have a curriculum for me, but then there was a marketer in me like, oh, you know what, I got it, I'm gonna be adaptable, like, you throw anything my way and, like, you know, I'll figure it out and eventually get the hang of it. So I didn't expect that, you know, being like my first week, I think, or so, I got thrown into like this fraud case, and you know, like, they didn't really give me much instructions. They just said, hey, here's all the files, we just need to know where the money went. And you know, you get the backstory of like, okay, X client borrowed X amount of money, they didn't
use it correctly.
Yes.
Same old song and dance that, you know, happens at other banks. It's not anything necessarily new, but
yes. So like, I mean, I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And so like, we started this Excel sheet and I was like, okay, I'm gonna organize all of these documents, and I started putting it all together. And then shortly after then, Danuta joined in the bank, and so we later on tag teamed that project and we were able to find exactly where the money went. But that was like a big case for the bank that we got to partake in, and so then that really gave us confidence too, to know like, hey, we can take this on. And if that wasn't enough, like, our boss was like, hey, I'm gonna throw you guys into the CLFP certification. That's for like leasing professionals that normally have 3 years of experience before they even go and sit in for the exam.
And we're fresh out of college, marketing and advertising majors.
Yes. And so there's a lot of skepticism.
Yeah, a lot of skepticism for sure, because new, fresh out of college, nothing finance related.
Yeah, but like, again, like, I feel like Chris was like, nope, bigger picture, like, they can do this. And you know, like, we studied our butts off and we passed both of us, and so that was something that part of our career progression, you know, like, once we get the experience under our belt, we were officially like CLFP certified.
Yeah.
So like, that's something, and being able to, like Danuta said, like, go with these experienced lenders and just shadow them and get that opportunity to see their interaction with the clients, like, that really helps us get like a good foundation for once we are ready and we graduate from this program, we'll be able to eventually take over our own portfolio and have our own customers that we're going to work with. But this program covers credit, so like, we're not marketing and advertising. Credit is way
Out of the wheelhouse.
Yes. But you know, they do a really good job by, you know, first putting you in sales, and okay, we're going to put you in credit, and then, you know, you're going to go do like loan review, and then just work out and collections, and just, you get the whole picture. And I think ultimately that's going to help us just piece it all together, and you know, wherever we see problems, we're able to say like, hey, Chris, I think this could be done better. Like, oh, we see tension here between these two departments, and so that gives us a better understanding, having been in the shoes of the other side. And say, for example, credit and sales, we're able to put pieces together and just build an argument for, okay, maybe we could do this or do things differently, like, be better and more efficient about it.
Yeah, so I mean, with both of our experiences so far, like, in our careers, like, the main thing that I think I would take away from it, like, to, I guess, impart wisdom or knowledge on, is like, don't think that you can't do it, because you can. Like I said, like, we have had like a lot of things like stacked up against us, and it's, again, very intimidating going into something totally like brand new. But if you have the desire, the willpower, the skill sets, the drive, you can literally do anything. You can go into finance as a marketing and advertising major, as females, you know, as, you know, individuals with families that were not born here. You can literally, if you put your mind to whatever it is that you want to do, like, don't let things intimidate you. You can do it.
You know, who knows, maybe you'll also be going to conventions and just trade shows and just flying all over.
Paving the way.
Paving the way.
It's what we're planning to do.
I did not begin college at Indiana University of South Bend. I actually started my college career down at University of Alabama because I had a full ride scholarship for gymnastics. I competed my freshman year down at the University of Alabama, at which point I then transferred to Western Michigan University to compete, and competed my sophomore year at Western Michigan University. After multiple injuries, including shoulder surgeries and torn ankles, I decided that it was time to hang up my gymnastics career, and I transferred back home, which led me to Indiana University of South Bend. So I'm very grateful to the Marketing and Advertising Club and to the School of Business because I felt like they truly set me up for success in my career today. Not only was I able to land a job prior to graduating even, I was able to land a job at such an incredible company within Abbott Laboratories and was able to gain a ton of experience right out of college. My position right out of college was as an internal pediatric sales representative, where I was able to work at the corporate headquarters for Abbott Nutrition in Columbus, Ohio. I spent 8 months in this role before being eligible for a promotion, at which time I was then able to come back to South Bend, Indiana, and have my own territory in the field as a field sales representative for Abbott Nutrition as well. I managed a territory here in the South Bend and Northwest Indiana area for 3 years in the field before taking another position with a different company. I now currently work for a company called Organogenesis, which is a leading regenerative medicine company. We sell medical devices that are specific to the advanced wound care as well as the surgical and sports medicine industry. In my past 2 years at Organogenesis, I have had a lot of success, which has led to several awards and accolades. Some of those include receiving the President's Club Award this past year, which is awarded to the top 10% of all sales representatives within the company. I also was voted on by my team as the team MVP or regional MVP, which is a huge award to receive because it is peer nominated. I have also received more recently the Above and Beyond Award, which was nominated by our Chief of Operations. And this is an award that is only given to a few select representatives throughout the company who have gone above and beyond for their accounts and their team and their company. I will just say, I hope that any new graduates from high school or anyone that is looking at Indiana University of South Bend, I strongly encourage you to take an extra look. This is an amazing school. They have an incredible opportunity to really provide you with an individualized education. The School of Business and specifically the marketing and advertising programs, I cannot speak highly enough about. And I would just encourage anybody who has an interest in these programs to take the time to research it, reach out to alumni that have graduated from the program. I would just say I wish you all the best, and I hope that more of you continue to participate in this program, and I am going to leave it there. All right, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it. I will see you all later.
I hope that's good enough.
I look forward to hearing from some of you, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Got it. Also, let us know if this is garbage because we'll redo it.